Okay, so today we have started week 6, and it's about, I guess it's kind of a new concept for most of you guys. So, like today, we will try to see. Actually, we've been doing different type of EDA before, specifically this type of tasks. You're not this type of challenge, like, and I guess it's new for most of us. So, we are already familiar with EDA and how to do EDA, the purpose, and what type of EDAs do we need to do. So we guys are already familiar with those type of concepts, but today um, we will try to relate this concept for using EDA for chats or for RAG or for different type of retrieval engines. So what could it be, the difference between normal EDAs that we do and the one that is uh, the applied form or the applied EDA? So what could be the difference between them? So it is going to be just as simple, and actually you guys are familiar with the concept, so you will just try to see um, what specific actions or things that we need to follow if it is for RAG. Okay, so your current EDA skills, yeah, leveraging your existing EDA expertise, which is the first one is we usually do. We usually start from describing the data that we have and trying to see if there is an empty value, identifying a missing value, and visualizing distribution, histograms, box plots, and exploring relationships, correlation matrix, scatter plots, univariate and bivariate analysis. Those are the type of EDAs that we were doing and that we are already familiar with. So um, the point is we're still going to use those types of EDs or those types of analysis, but uh, we are going to make them specifically or directly related with the use case. So while we say unapplied or a purpose-driven framework for EDA, it's to develop impactful AI solutions, particularly for RAG or for retrieval engine systems. We propose viewing EDA through two distinct yet complementary lenses. So the first one is the domain-specific lens and the applied lens. So in the domain-specific lens, we see the why. So focus on the business context. What is the business context and why are we trying to use the analyzed data for and the requirements, stakeholder objectives. So in our case, or on this technical document, on this week challenge case. So the use case is to understand the comments or the feedback of users, right? So we need to understand the why, and the key question is what specific insights that does the business need, and what are our users' primary information, our users' primary information needs. So the domain specific links will vary from task to task, challenge to challenge, and business objective to business objective generally. When we came to the applied links, it is the how. So we've already known the reason. On the how, we will try to address the technical requirement of the system being developed. So how are we going to develop this and what are the requirements? So what this will help us to know what is the data characteristics will enable the RAG system or the RAG model to perform optimally, okay? So this approach, like trying to see the domain specific lanes or which is the stakeholder perspective, it will require adopting the perspective of the end user or business stakeholder. So the objective is to link the patterns directly to the business metrics, strategy goals, and operational challenge. So if you remember, while doing the EDA mostly we just used to do different type of analysis if it is just going to help us to understand the data. But now it is not just about understanding the data, but which type of EDAs or analysis will be directly related um, uh, with the expectation that the user or the client is expecting from us. So the key activities will be identifying data points that directly influence key performance indicators or the KPIs, formulating questions that address daily operational issues and information gaps for stakeholders. Most of the time, EDA will emerge from like the questions, right? So, what is the issue that the users? If we identify the issues that the users are addressing, or trying to ask that will just help us to answer, to give the answer using EDA. So, and prioritizing analysis based on business impacts rather than solely statistical significance. Um, that is what I was trying to say. Instead of, we might just plot every data, or we might just visualize every data in features, but instead of that, rather than the statistical significance, we will be based on the business impact. So utilizing domain knowledge to interpret findings, like understanding business implication of a charge of in financial data. So the shift will focus on what is in the data to what does this data means for the business and how can it inform our RAG system purpose. So it would be the idea of EDA, or the idea of doing that type of analysis, will directly shift from the one from exploring the data to uh, what is the goal of the data, or what useful information will the data have that is directly related with the RAG system that we're building. Okay. So the applied lens AI, from like the AI perspective, the lens focus on the technical preparation of data for specific algorithms. So to assess the data suitability and pre-processing to maximize the model's performance, the key activities will be for the RAG system specifically. The key features that matters will be the data quality for models, right? So since the text links, so since we're going to use models in different parts, like on the chunking, so you guys have seen like the embedding in other parts before. So we need um, text links on chunking, semantic coherence, and document structure. So chunking means chunking in the semantic coherence means while trying to understand the semantic meanings of a word, we will try to chunk, or we will try to collect them in a specific chunks. So that one chunk is the one that is going to be translated to the, or that is going to be embedded in order to understand the semantic meaning. Okay. So the thing, what matters for chunking is the text length. So the data quality for models will help us, more quality. If our data is poor in quality, so one chunk will contain a large amount of poor data, so it is going to be costly. Large amount of like empty space or quotations or something. Okay. The other is noise reduction, which is identifying and removing data artifacts that can negatively impact an LLM, like the Mikhail. Okay. Can you actually can you explain what drug actually means? Okay, so I guess it was described on the challenge introduction or something. So the rock is retrieval argument. I'm sorry, let me go to the slide. Oops. So the idea of frog is, I guess yeah, the idea of frog is we're trying to, so in this part, in this, like, let's, instead of just talking about frog, let us try to, I guess most of you are, had attended the challenge introduction, but for those of you who have no clear idea of the rock, uh, so in this challenge document, in this week challenge document, we have a data, right? So those data are words or informations. So what we're trying to do, is we're trying to prepare a chatbot that will help the user, or I mean the user in this case, maybe our client, that will help her to get general perspective or general idea of the comments that is given from the customers. And it's a chatbot just while the user, or the people that are using the product of our client, while they ask the chatbot, it will just return an answer from what, from the information, or from the previous information or data that it already have. So that is RAG. So what is the context here? The information that is put previously, or that is there previously, or the comments that is prepared, or basically the data that we have gave you. Okay. So like the basic idea again is, like when we say RAG, like trying to connect uh the concept, trying to connect the concept of RAG and the challenge document here that we have described now. So we're going to retrieve a data, or we're going to retrieve an information from where. R stands for retrieving. Okay, so from where? From the data that we already give in the backend. Okay, um, so RAG means we have a context or a data. So previously, you guys have just gone through an analysis of the data and see the data, clean the data, and then train the model based on the data, right? But instead of that, now what we are going to do is a data is provided in our as a context in our system. So while the user asks, or while the user asks in the chatbot, so we're going to try to find out something that is similar with the question that the user had asked, and we're going to retrieve our information from the data that is already stored. So based on some semantic analysis, so we're going to do some semantic analysis, trying to similarize the question of the user and the data that is already saved in our system. Okay. So while doing some analysis or semantic research, if we find that there is a similarity with the question and with the data that we already have, the chatbot will return an answer for that specific question, or a correct answer for that specific question. That is RAG. Okay, it's an engine, so it is going to help us to retrieve an information from a data or from a context that we already saved or that we already have. Mikhail, is that clear? Okay. Let's skip to the presentation. Yeah, I guess we were talking. Okay. So, what are the things that matters for this kind of system, or for the RAG, is the data quality for models, and with the noise reduction, identifying and removing data artifacts that can negatively impact any link. So they might be text, HTML, HTML tags, or any type of irrelevant metadata or the duplicate contents. They are considered as a noise and they need to be reduced. Otherwise, they're going to be uh, they're going to interrupt, or they're going to be an information that is not that much useful. Okay, or they're going to also just disturb the chunking and the embedding mechanism or steps. And the other one is the suitability assessment, which is we need to determine the data is sufficiently rich and relevant for the intended RAG task. So does the text contain enough semantic meaning for effective retrieval? So one of the so since we understand the concept of RAG, one of the useful task or step is, or one of the main actually, that's the semantic understanding of the word. So if a words have no semantic meaning, or if we are not going to understand the semantic definition of that word, it will be hard to have or to retrieve some effective data from our context or from our data. So we need to understand if that data have semantic meaning, if it contains enough semantic meaning. And the pre-processing strategy, designing targeted cleaning, chunking, embedding, and indexing pipeline based on the data insights. That is called as pre-processing strategy. So I guess we were already done with this. Shifting focus now, yeah, exactly. So now we're going to be considered, is the data clean? Is the data effectively prepared for my RAG model to learn from a retrieval information, So again, they have the same concept. So it is, we need to clean the data in EDA and also in here also. They're basically the same, but the point is now we're going to use we're going to do the cleaning from a concept of, is the data clean enough to be used for my RAG system. So the comparison is, the primary goal is uncover business insight and user needs, ensure optimal RAG model performance and data readiness. Now, the guiding questions could be, what matters to the stakeholders or the users, what matters to the RAG algorithm, and our focus will be business context, KPIs, product feature, user problems, technical requirement, data quality for email, noise reduction, and specific RAG pipeline needs. The example activity that you can do is correlating customer complaints with a specific product launch to understand user sentiment impact on RAG query internet. So analyzing text links distribution to determine the optimal chunking strategy for vector database indexing in a RAG system. Also, the success metrics, as you think, that could be actionable business recommendation, and can we give actionable business recommendation based on the retrieval system that we have used. and high retrieval accuracy, or are we getting it right, the right type of answer for the question, or for the question that we're asking through the chat tools? Better generation quality, more reliable rack system performance. So those are the success metrics. Okay, so I guess it is just the EDA part is a common concept, and the specific type of analysis and cleaning now you guys are supposed to make, as mentioned on your challenge document, like counting the text links, filtering them in a specified column name and things. So there are specific type of EDAs that are mentioned there. So the point is, if you get some EDAs that will help you, or methods or implementation that you will consider that they will be helpful for my retrieval engine, so then you can just add that on the methods or steps that are already mentioned on the document. But if not, you can just go with the ideas that are already mentioned. Okay. So integrating both lenses, which is a seamless workflow for RAG. So these two approach now are they're not sequential, but from an integrated mindset essential for building robust RAG systems. The domain specific insight is example. Customers frequently inquire about product warranty details. So it must be validated through applied analysis. Like there are warranty documents comprehensive and clean enough for our RAG models to accurately retrieve information. And what about the applied findings? Like many knowledge base articles exhibit inconsistent formatting and irrelevant headers, so they require domain specific context. So are these issues concentrated in a specific product line frequently referenced by our support team, making their resolution critical for RAG accuracy? Um, so, like, and the domain insight is going to the domain insight, then the guide applied action, and enable better RAG models, and then deliver real domain value. So that is going to be the goal, and that is going to be the
Now,
approach
the
that
man, I know what.
you guys need to follow. Mm. So I guess Lanisha, yeah. You're muted. So yeah, basically these are the main approach that you guys need to use. So let's see uh, if you have any question on this. So let's also, you can also relate this with the data that you have, or with the type of, with the concept of RAG itself. So you can relate this. So it is, at the end of the day, it's EDA. So we're not going to see, you're already familiar with EDA. So we're not going to see any type of specific uh, EDAs now, but you can consider the EDA steps that are mentioned on your challenge document as EDA steps to be followed. So this is the concept, and this is the things that you need to keep in mind while working your EDA. Do you have any question? Daniel, you can go on.
Okay, thank you. That's insightful. Can you give us just a little bit insights about the data that's been shared to do the project? I mean, like I didn't start the project yet, but like what type of challenges that we are going to face while doing the EDA or cleaning, and if you have any kind of suggestions, uh, I will be glad to hear.
So, thank you, Daniel. So, like, specifically, one of the challenges that you are going to face with the data is opening the data itself. It is, I guess, 5 point something GB. So, I'm trying to read the data myself. I'm trying to see the data actually now. So, any type of, honestly, I cannot give you any type of suggestion on the data because I haven't seen the data on detailed structure. So, I'm just, yeah. And as you know, a large amount of data, so I can't give you specific type of suggestion about the data, honestly. So, yeah. But
Okay.
I can look at the data and I can see if there is some insight that I can share. I will just look and I will share you on Slack. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Especially, them some like suggestions or methods that we have to use to clean the data, especially for because mm, in the back the project that we are did especially challenges me on the cleaning part because so many data are noisy, and also we have to correlate with each other. The last chance is to drop them, which I don't want to do because there might be options. There might be options. So, like I'm asking, to give me some suggestions or options that I can do with the data. If you have, if you take a look at the data, I'll be happy, if you give me suggestions.
I understand this specific yeah. This specific type of data is not similar with the previous one. Okay. Previously, what we were doing is trying to check the data and trying to drop if there's an empty value or trying to do some imputation and things like that. Now we have a semantic value, and also we were doing if we have numerical or categorical or another type of data, we were doing some encoding and things like that, right? So now there is no concept of encoding the data here because already we need the semantic value of the data, not the numerical value. Okay, so that type of imputation, dropping the data in another concepts are not going to be applied here. So you don't want to be you don't need to be confused about them. So specifically on the explore on the EDA or on the data processing part on task one, you can just go and what you are expected to do is counting, like doing the word count, which is done before, I guess. And
Okay, so
yeah, are they
yeah,
very You can go.
yeah, okay, so I don't have to worry about cleaning the data.
Cleaning the data is like removing the voices. It's not about dropping an empty data, doing some imputations and other things. Rather, it is, of course, you're going to visualize the data. And as it is mentioned here, on the semantic value of the data, you will try to find if there is, mm, sorry, yeah, if there is something like another characters that is going to affect the semantic value of the data and things like that, okay? So yeah, we
Okay,
just opened.
okay, thank you.
Is there another question?
Not for me.
Yeah, okay, from another people. So trying to look the data, it is data received, products, sub-products, issue, sub-issue, consumers, complaints. It is large amount of data. Or, wait, mm, company response, yeah, and the other value. So the main thing or the main problem and the main techniques that you guys are going to follow here is just try to visualize the data and yeah, try on the like visualizing the data, you just consider the word counts and if there are any missing columns or things like that, okay? But the main challenge or the main techniques that you can use will come on the chunking part. So chunking the data is going to so actually there's a session on the chunking and on the data on using vector databases and other things. So um, while doing that, those features will decide whether the model is going to understand the semantic definition of your words. So um, yeah, what you need to do is a simple visualization and determine if there is maybe a slight noise on the data. So maybe the main honestly, like by just seeing the data, the main type of analysis or the main type of the specific type of cleaning step that I have used for myself is just removing the boiler points. Okay, I'm not sure if there are another type of cleaning purpose that you can just go. There is not going to be another type of step That is why I'm not sharing that demo. So this is just straightforward state. Just consider what type of boiler plate can we that the data can have. Okay, like slashes, hashtags, or something, or those types of variables, and then just remove that. The rest of it will be just following the task one part of the challenge, which is filtering them, lowercasing the text directly. You can just do the task one that is mentioned on the challenge document. Just do the, as I mentioned, just do removing the boilerplates, and that would be considered as the EDA. Okay, another question? I guess, yeah, it is because of Daniel's question also. Is there any is there another question? So can I consider that the concept is clear? So thank you everyone for being here. I guess we can end the session here. Bye.